Hello. Welcome to Wealth Flow with the Black Mentor. I am your host, Joseph Nantomah, and today I have
Mike McDermott.
Yeah, and you know what this show is all about is we're here to teach you how to build wealth. So many people have taught you how to start a business, how to go through your side hustle, and all the 9 yards, and that is not bad. But what we want to teach you here and show you is how you can build wealth for yourself and the next generation and the next generation. And Mike is an expert when it comes to setting up businesses in the United States. Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself and what we look at getting this morning.
Sure. First off, I want to thank you, Joseph, for having me as your guest today. This is the very first one, so I'm your first guest.
Correct.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank you all for watching and being a part of us today. So thank you very much. A little bit about myself. I help people structure and maintain independent or solo 401ks so that they can escape Wall Street and invest in, I hate to use the word non-traditional, but in other assets besides mutual funds, ETFs, and the Wall Street stuff, I'll call it, that most people are locked into investing. Now, you yourself have used these to great advantage investing in real estate.
I am still using it right now as I speak. Not, you sound like I was using it in the past. I'm still using it right now.
Yeah. But you can build tax-free wealth like that, as Joseph is very adept at doing and helping his clients do. But you were asking about how to establish a business. So that's a much more confusing question than it seems in one sentence. How do you start a business? So I'm going to actually talk about two things. Number one is the IRS, our favorite big brother, and what you need to do to comply with them. And then the second thing is asset protection, what keeps you safe. And the hidden part of this is what keeps your business safe from you. Everybody thinks about the one part, I'm going to keep myself safe from my business. They ignore the part about where we keep our business safe from you. So let's start with the IRS first.
Let's go.
Okay, perfect. All right. People will tell you run off and form an LLC, and they think you formed a business. You haven't, okay? So you need to understand the 4 ways an IRS classes a business. So I'm going to run through those as quickly as possible.
Please shoot.
Okay, first is sole proprietor. And that's how we all started off in America. We all started off as sole proprietors. We went out and grew vegetables. We became silversmiths. We did whatever we needed to do. And the income came into us personally. We filed our taxes personally. We were sole proprietors. All right. Now, I can tell you, without going down too many rabbit holes, that is the riskiest, both from an asset protection side and also from the IRS. Sole proprietors get audited more often than any other business, and the IRS collects more from sole proprietors. So the second to the last thing you want to do is be a sole proprietor. Okay, so any questions about that? Or?
No, you go ahead.
Okay, great. The second way that the IRS looks at a business is a partnership. So you and I get together and we're going to do business together. And that's like sole proprietor squared in terms of being bad, because now in our case, Joseph's liabilities become my liabilities become Joseph's liabilities.
That's more like a double trouble now.
Oh. I don't think he wants my liabilities, trust me.
Yes, I don't.
So partnership is very dangerous. So we need something besides that. The next step was corporations. So during the Industrial Revolution, people needed a way to, because the capital investment got to be very large. People were investing in huge machines, railroads were springing up, things like that. So there had to be a method for people to get together and accumulate massive wealth to do the investment they needed in the large factories and capital equipment, things like that. So that's when corporations were formed. And that was fine. So if you all are going out to start forming huge, massive capital acquisitions, if you're looking for tons of investors, the corporation is the method to do that. In today's environment, we don't want to be a corporation. They're double taxed and there's tons of problems, record keeping, bookkeeping, board of directors, things of requirements you don't want or need. So many people are actually getting out of corporations, dissolving corporations,
Correct.
and downsizing to something more manageable. In the 1950s, it became apparent that corporations were antithetical to small businesses, so the IRS formed S Corps, which is technically a corporation, but it allows you to claim so much of your income as direct income. So that becomes passive income. You don't get double taxed on it. There's a small portion you do get double taxed on. But many of us think we know S Corps and that's a good alternative for us. And let me just say they may or may not be, but we can't make a blanket statement straight across the board that S Corps are good for us. Yeah. 10 years ago, hey, go form an S Corp. We don't do that today. Okay.
So if I understand it, the last one that is on the list is LLC.
Now, good question. We
Let's
get to
talk
the
about
LLC.
LLCs.
Let's talk about LLCs. The IRS does not recognize LLCs. LLCs don't exist as far as the IRS is concerned. LLCs originally were formed in Wyoming. And the state of Wyoming came up with the idea of an LLC in 77 or 78, somewhere in there. And they were practically laughed off the map. There would have been a big hole in the map where Wyoming was.
Wyoming.
Okay. Last year, over 90% of all the businesses were formed as LLCs. Now, here's the distinction. The LLC is an asset protection structure that you then have to claim with the IRS. How are we going to tax it? I have an organization, think of it as an organization called an LLC. It's going to hold my assets, it's going to run my business, but I now have to tell the IRS which way I want it taxed. Am I going to have it taxed as a sole proprietor? Am I going to have it taxed as a partnership? I'm going to have it taxed as an S Corp. I can even have my LLC taxed as a corporation. So when you have it taxed as an S Corp or a corporation, that's called a hybrid. We're going to have a hybrid LLC. So for most of us, our decision is going to be, is it going to be a sole proprietorship or is it going to be a partnership? So now you know the difference between a structure that's allowed for asset protection, keep me safe from my business, keep my business safe from me, and how the IRS deals with it. So hopefully that's clear. Do you have any questions about the distinction?
So I don't have, I'm just trying. The reason why I asked that question is for a lot of people out there. But you know, right now in the United States, it is said that when you set up an LLC or you set up a business, most business go under in 5 years.
Absolutely.
And, you know, 10 years ago, you know, everybody wanted to become a millionaire.
Right.
But right now, if you make $1 million, you know, just because of inflation and, you know, and so many other stuff going out there, $1 million is not the same value as it used to be 10 years ago.
Yep.
So if you're shooting to make $1 million, let's say you're trying to retire and you're shooting to make $1 million, what you're just telling yourself is you're making like 600,000
or less.
Or less, you know, because after the big brother Sam comes and take out. Now, as a business person, what is the right target? And we know that, you know, for you to be really successful in the United States, it's all about taxes and taxation.
Right.
You know, so as an expert, I want you to tell people out there, what are the programs available, you know, that are out there as a business owner that can help you save you from some taxes in the United States?
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to jump back to the two distinctions.
Correct.
All right. Today, if you're interested in starting a business, you want to open an LLC. All right, let's get that straight.
Yeah, let's get it straight.
Okay. Now, an LLC is to help protect you from your business. Something goes wrong in your business, you want that to stop at the LLC and not come after you personally.
Correct.
Okay? And there are 5 states that give asset protection, complete asset protection, to single-member LLCs. If you're taking notes, this is a time to take a note. Single-member LLC. There are only 5 states, Alaska, South Dakota, and I don't know, 3 others. Yep. We're in Wisconsin, so it doesn't apply. If you're a single-member LLC, you do not have the protection you need. So the next option is to be a multi-member LLC taxed as a partnership. Okay, so you create a multi-member LLC, and then you inform the IRS when you apply for your EIN number that you are applying as a partnership. Okay. I can't make this any plainer. I can't make it any simpler. Be a multi-member LLC and have yourself classed as a partnership.
What are the advantages of being a a multi-member LLC?
That is the excellent question. If I were going to script this, that's the one I'd tell you to ask right now. All right, first let's talk about asset protection. We want, if something goes wrong in our business, we want that to hit the LLC and not extend any further. Now, a single member will do that just fine, and the multi-member will do that just fine. All right? Now, let's talk about what happens to you personally. So I come over to your house and your dog bites me. Okay? I'm going to sue you personally. If you are a single member LLC and I sue you beyond the limits of your insurance, okay, so now you personally have to come up with something to pay me off.
Correct.
I can wind up suing you personally from the top down. Now, I'm not talking about the business, I'm talking about you personally. From the top down, I could wind up on your board of directors for your LLC.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's what it means is I started working for you. Like, pretty much I have to make money, and you come in and just split the money halfway.
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
So we don't go after his bank account, we don't go after his cars or anything else, but a judge is going to do what's called foreclosure, and it's a different foreclosure than you would have on a house.
On the house, yeah.
And the judge will say, Mr. Nantomah, Mr. McDermott is now part of your board. He's got managing capability in your LLC, and you are going to fulfill on paying him out of your business, because it's called a distribution that the judge can order, and you have to pay me first before you can pay yourself anything.
Correct.
Okay, and if I have management capabilities, I'm going to make sure you do that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, multi-member LLC, that can't happen.
That can happen.
That can't happen. I'm out here waiting for you to pay me. And there are ways that you can actually skirt that, and it's a little complicated now, but understand you have that protection that I can't be stuck on your board, I don't become part of your management, and I'm out here waiting for you to pay me, and you can do things that'll make that less attractive to me. I might have to negotiate down my settlement or something that will make you more profitable and protect you from lawsuits.
Correct.
So you want to be protected in your business this way. If something goes wrong in your business, you don't want it personally. And if something goes wrong here, you want your business protected.
And this is so important in businesses because a lot of people don't know this. And, you know, I tell people all the time, what is really important in life is information. When you have information dispensed your way, you can actually, you know, protect yourself from so many troubles. You know, I woke up one day and one of my business had grown into millions of dollars. And I said, you know what? I brought my daughter in and I gave her just 1% of that business.
Perfect.
And that, just doing that alone has saved my business from what we just said. And we're like, your daughter is 7. Why give her a business over $20 million, 1%? I'm like, I know what I'm doing. Because in the United States, anybody can sue you. People wake up in the morning and they sue you because they don't like how you look like. Like, I don't like this guy's face, I'm suing you, you know? And when you go through that process and you understand how things are done, this can actually save you.
In a perfect world, you would never need it ever.
Yeah.
We unfortunately don't live in a perfect world. We live in the United States.
Correct.
The most litigious country in the world.
I'm telling you.
All right, now,
but you know, I had a, and this is just, you know, me pivoting. I had a multi-millionaire friend who said, Joseph, when they start suing you, then you know you're truly successful. So yeah, I've been sued a couple of times. I had a transaction recently. I told the guy I wasn't going to buy the house for insurance purposes, and he sued me. Then I said, oh, it looks like I'm beginning to become successful now, because the moment you start getting sued, you know what the attorneys do in the United States when you bring a case to them? They're like, okay, who is that dude? Let's check him out. So they go and they check you out and they say, oh, he has this asset and that asset. Okay, yeah, we can. If we sue this guy, we can get a couple of thousands out of him. But you know, when you don't have nothing, they're like, dude, this guy's not going to pay you. Like, right. You know, you sue him, he's not even going to give you nothing.
If I sue him, how are you going to pay me for the
yeah, you're going to pay me for the
okay,
so let's just forget it. I mean, this guy makes $20 per hour. You want to sue him? Yeah. I mean, it's going to take another 50 years. But, you know, so these are the reasons why I started this show like this, because I have never seen, and, you know, when you see this on social media and all the platforms, I want you to, you know, comment and put your comments out there. I've never seen anybody who works a normal job that became a millionaire. I don't know if you know any.
No, you can't.
You know, I've never, because the truth of the matter is, in the United States, and I moved down to the United States in 2016. And the moment I moved to United States, I filed, everybody goes through the process of filing for your documentation to live here. I had the opportunity of one thing I love about America is the fact that there's a free library. So I went to the library in 2017 and I read 54 books that year because I was just waiting. Every morning I go out and I just get a book and I was reading. And I found out from the books that I read, just reading from successful people, that the United States was not designed for 9-to-5 people to be successful. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying 9-to-5 is bad. I'm saying even while you're doing 9-to-5, still think like a business person, still think like an entrepreneur, right? So you can still be working and you can still have, if you work from 9-to-5 and you go home and go to bed, then you're one of the most unambitious person that I know. Because I see people who work 9-to-5, then when they go home, they go take care of their own side hustle or do something else, or start building something in the back. It could be drawing, it could be painting, it could be just doing something. And another thing that I read, one of the books that I read, was talking about Henry Ford, the guy. He said something. He said, in the United States, you control everything and you own nothing. Now those words has been resonating with me like my whole life. So I said, okay, what does it mean? It says you own nothing in the United States. And that's what you were talking about, protecting yourself from litigations and things like that. It says you own nothing, but you control everything. Now, when I came to understand that, and I'm in the real estate business, what I did was every single thing that I own, including my clothing, is owned by my business. My clothes are branded in the name of my business, so I get a tax write-off for that. My cars are bought in the name of my business. My yacht is bought in the name of my business. My houses are bought in the name of my business. But guess who's driving the car?
Right.
Me.
Yep.
That is how I control the car. Guess who's, taking the trip to the lake on my yacht? Me, but it's in the name of the business. So like you said, if somebody was to come after me, or if somebody's going to sue the business, they cannot get to me. So that is what we're trying to pass out here. This is how you build wealth in the United States. You don't build wealth going and, some people think when you work three jobs, you get rich. What do you think about that?
Well, here's my analogy. Okay. Now you have 2 girls, right?
Correct.
And you've had to take them to birthday parties, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your oldest girl's name?
She turned 8 on Sunday. Her name is Zoe.
Zoe. So you take Zoe to a birthday party. You get to the door. Mom says to you, "You'll be here in 2 hours." Mm-hmm. 2 hours. That's it.
Yeah.
2 hours. Because if it's not a sleepover, that's all Mom can take, right?
Correct.
Okay. So 2 hours later, you show up, and Zoe gets in the car, and you go, "How was the birthday party?" And she goes, "I don't know. I don't know." I go, "Well, why? What happened?" She says, "Well, all the other kids got to sit at the party table, and they sat me on a hard chair with a bologna sandwich and a glass of milk."
Amazing.
Yeah. Now, as a concerned parent, you might say, "Well, were you naughty? Did you do something wrong?" She says, "No, I didn't do anything." What's your next step? What would you do?
Confront.
You'd be at the door, wouldn't you?
Correct.
All right. I've just explained how the IRS tax system works. If you're a W-2 employee, you're sitting on a hard chair with a bologna sandwich and a glass of milk. Now, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, man. And let me point this out. You see, when people don't get certain things, when we're saying these things, we're not saying it is right or wrong. We're saying it is choosing the right part or the left part of the road.
That's it.
So it's not wrong. I'm not saying you working for the last 20 years is bad. I'm just telling you there's another path. There's another road where you can be taxed the right way. You can protect yourself from certain taxes.
So
you can live the life. You can make money. You can control
exactly.
your own money. Some people are paid what? $20 per hour. You work
$50 now. I don't care. $70
whatever the amount is. But let's just say $50 per hour. You work 40 hours a week. So 5 times this is what? $2,000. But the truth of the matter is, before the check comes to your hand, 35% of that money
is gone.
Is gone.
See, this is my point. If you're a W-2 employee, you're on a hard chair with a bologna sandwich, a glass of milk. You've provided for. The food is nourishing, but it ain't the party table.
No, it's not.
At the party table, you're in business for yourself.
Correct.
Okay. Why? Well, if you're a W-2 employee, the first thing they do is take out Social Security, and you don't even see that because that's the part your employer pays.
Correct.
Then they take out the part you pay. Then they take out federal tax, then they take out state tax, then they take out state and federal unemployment, then they take out workman's comp, and then they take out anything your employer gets a tax deduction for providing you. And then what are you left with?
And you have no say.
Yeah, it's done. You're done. You're down here at the bottom, and everything's been predetermined. If you're at the party table, if you're in business for yourself, you get to deduct your car, you get to deduct your yacht, you get to deduct dinners out, you get to deduct. Then you pay yourself.
Yep.
And then you pay Uncle
Actually,
Sam.
that's not how I do it.
Well, how do you do it?
I pay myself first.
Oh, okay.
So I pay myself first,
Okay,
right?
sure.
So I pay myself first, then I deduct everything. So you have to learn to pay yourself first, and this is really important. You know, a lot of people out there are struggling, and that is what this show is all about. You know, building wealth. A lot of people are struggling out there, and yeah, we might look like we're joking about, but we're not really joking. We're really passing out a message because right now in the United States. In the last 3 years, we're living in the most prosperous time in the United States.
Right. Yep.
If you read the what they call it, this magazine, Forbes magazine of 2000, I believe, it says between 2000, 2020, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023, we are living right in the middle of the most, like the shift of wealth flow in the entire world.
Yep.
80% of the entire American currencies were printed in 2020. You know why, right?
Yeah, because of the COVID.
Because of the COVID. So there is no limitation out there right now. You know, I have a friend who is a governor, and one day he asked me a question just very recently. He said, do you know the highest bill that is printed in the United States? And you know, for someone who sees maybe $5 and $1 every single time, yeah, it's $1. He said, no. He said the highest printed bill in the United States right now is $100 bill. And that tells you something. That tells you there's a lot of money out there. Now, before we go back and, you know, Mike breaks down certain things about businesses and how you can save, I want you to understand something. Every single person is gifted. You know, what is that thing that when you wake up in the morning, you can do it and just do it and you love it? That is what you want to build your business around. You want to build something, you know, that when you wake up in the morning, you don't need somebody to pat you in the back and say, go do it. You build a business around it, okay? When you do that, now you're no more working. Now you're actually doing what you love. But the truth of the matter is the moment you set up an LLC around it, it starts making you money.
It can start making you money. Let me finish my example.
Please go ahead.
Because it points directly to you.
Okay.
Okay. So we understand that with a business of our own, we get all these wonderful deductions. We pay ourselves first, and the government gets to be last in line. So you get to be first in line, or you get to be last in line.
I'm always first.
You want to be first in line.
I just want to be the first.
If you have business for yourself, you're at the party table. If you're in real estate, it's your party. Because real estate investors get more tax write-offs than any other group in the United States, which might be why more millionaires and billionaires are made in real estate.
Correct.
Now, Joseph, remind us again, what is your major business?
Real estate.
There we go. Okay. So even if you're not in real estate, you can partner with somebody who is
in real estate,
and they can lead you down that path. Okay.
And that is one thing that a lot of people, you have to get, you know, I'm going to be talking about mindset in another edition when we talk about, when we come on the show. You have to build a mindset where you get to the point where you learn how to collaborate. The problem with a lot of people, why people don't succeed, is they have a competitive mindset. You know, you see somebody doing something, you don't know how to do it, and instead of you to go and say, hey, how do you do it? How do I collaborate with you and build this together and put my money and put my time, we're going to talk about passive income and all that, and put your money and build. What most people do is, oh, he's making money, I'm going to do the same thing. And you don't know nothing about what they're doing, and that is how people lose their money very fast.
Very quickly. So his title is The Black Mentor. Everybody needs a mentor. I don't care what you're doing.
Correct.
You can consider it an apprenticeship program. Get somebody who's been in the business, somebody who knows. One of the things I tell people when they set up LLCs, to form an LLC and structure it properly, you need a board of advisors.
Correct.
It's not required, so people think, oh, it's not required, I don't have to do it, until they wind up in court and they find out that their LLC would be much stronger with one. Get one of your competitors on your board of advisors. I mean, if you run a bakery, get the guy from the next town over to be on your bakery.
Yeah.
Because you're fighting the same battles. You're meeting the same challenges, and if you're a baker, having him on your board of directors sure beats having me on your board of directors. 'Cause I don't know anything about baking.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, you need a mentor. Don't care what you're getting into. So that's maybe
Yeah,
tattoo number one.
I want to also, reemphasize that mentorship is very, very important. A lot of people don't understand how far mentorship go, but every single person that I know in my age range, now I'm going to sound like I'm very old, read The Rich Dad and the Poor Dad. Read The Rich Dad and the Poor Dad, and I tell people all the time, and I'm sure this is out there, my father was a great man, loved me, showed me every single thing as a father, taught me to be a great man, love my family and all that stuff, love people, respect the country and all that. But what my father didn't teach me was financial literacy.
Right.
And that was not because he was a bad man, that was just because that was where he was at the time. That was where he could, So when I was growing up, my father would be like this, Joseph, how much money do you have? And let's just say I had $1,000. They'd be like, save $800. But he was teaching me to save money, not because he knew what I was going to do with the money. He was teaching me to save money because he was expecting that when it gets to rainy days, there will be money, for rainy days. And guess what happened every single time I saved this money?
You had a rainy day?
I had a rainy day. So somebody would fall sick, I'll bring out this money and we'll take the person to the hospital. Somebody will run into a problem, that our family was going to university or whatever, and I was pretty much the one that was just the rain guy, rain chair. Everybody that had a rainy day just calls me and I had to take care of. But when I came to the United States, and I'm talking about what mentorship did to me, I started getting new mentors, people like Grant Cardone, who is killing it in real estate, and all the big shots and every single person out there. And now a new language started coming my way. It wasn't saving anymore, it was investing. Invest your money, invest your money. So when I started understanding the power of investment, yes, I'm not saying it's easy, but you have to understand that anything good is never easy. And we have a say that, being broke is easy, being broke is hard, and being rich is hard. You got to choose your hard.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to do it the right way. Now, what did I do? I started my real estate business with $997. That is not buying a property. That was paying for mentorship. And I tell this story all the time. At the time I was paying $997, all I had in my bank account was $1,050. I had $1,050 new in America. It was my rent for the month. But I saw this dude on the TV screaming, if you give me $997, I will change your life forever. And I had to take a step backward because you know why? Now I'm started having new mentors. My mindset was already changing, the way I think and things like that. I said, let me give this a shot. So I pulled out a $997 out of the $1,050 and paid this guy so he could teach me how to make money when it comes to real estate. My first deal, I made $9,000. Second deal, I made about $6,000. By the time I got to my third, fourth deal, I'd amassed about $26,000. Now, another thing you have to understand is the moment you start making money, and this is for the young chaps out there, it's not a time to start buying Nike shoes and bling bling chains and trying to look rich because you have $26,000. No, you always plow your money back into your business. Now, an opportunity came for an elite training program that was going to coach me to become an accredited investor. And for you to be an accredited investor, it means you have $1 million in cash or $1 million in assets. Now, all I needed to do was pay $24,000 into this program. And when I finished paying the $24,000, I went for the program, I passed the exams, and I was given a line of credit for $1 million. And that is how my entire success story started. But you see, I've just told you what I did for over like 3-4 years in 5 minutes. It wasn't easy. There were days that people around you, your loved ones, will not even understand why you take $24,000 and go give it to a guy out there. They're like, is he kind of brainwashing you or something? Imagine you have your wife in your house and you wake up and say, I'm going to give this dude $24,000. He's going to coach me. Like, are you going to a university? Like, why would you be paying somebody $24,000? So, but when you understand the power of mentorship, it drives you to take action.
Right.
It inspires you to do things that are crazy that the normal people will not do out there. And when you do crazy things, you get crazy results.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So this is where we're at right now, as far as I know.
Yeah.
You're going to structure an LLC. You're going to have it classed as a multi-member partnership LLC. If you're married, your spouse. Tax reason number one. If you're not married, your daughter. Now you're married, but you use your daughter instead. But if you're not married, you can do a cousin. You got to have somebody in there, and I could give you a 1% partnership in my LLC, just so that this foreclosure process doesn't happen.
And it's 1%. You don't need to give them 100% or 50, just
Right.
1%, and
1%.
you just save yourself from trouble.
Save yourself all sorts of trouble. So that's number one. Now, if you're married and you have your spouse as a passive partner, I'm making widgets in my garage. My wife is a nurse and she doesn't know anything about widgets, but she's, say, a 20% partner. Okay, that's fine. I can do that. I can do what's called special allocation. So let's say that let's say my revenue is $1 million this year, and my take home, my net profit is $200,000. Okay, I'm going to pay 15.3% on that $200,000. Over $30,000 is going to go to self-employment tax, like that. That's before anything else happens. But because I have a multi-member LLC with my wife as my partner, I can ascribe to her half my net profit. So I can give her $100,000 and say it's hers.
Yep.
Does she participate in my business? Say no. No, she doesn't. She's a nurse. She's off doing something else. Doesn't know anything about widgets. But she just earned $100,000 passive income. Do we like passive income, Joseph?
Oh yeah, I just told you I woke up and I saw almost $5,000 in my account. I didn't have to work for it.
Right. So passive income. Passive income, that's why we like real estate, because rental income is passive income to us, and we don't pay Social Security tax on it.
On that, no.
So instead of paying $30,000 in Social Security, for ascribing $100,000 to my wife, I'm only going to pay $50,000. I just put $15,000 in my pocket.
And I want us to talk a little bit about, the PSP 401k solo program you talked about for businesses. I was talking to a friend the other day, and I told him, hey, I pay my kids about $12,000 plus every single year. All they got to do is come into my office and shred some papers, and I have records showing they came in there, and I paid them. I was like, how do you do that? And it just amazes me, the information that people don't even know about.
No, you're going to make me nuts. You're going to make me nuts.
And I want to go somewhere. So
I know
I did that, and last year when my daughter turned 7, and you were the one who set up my PSP and all that. And I got my daughter, and I bought my daughter a property in Oklahoma.
Sure.
And the property is about $120,000, and I gave it to her, and I said, hey, this is going to be under your own PSP. And my daughter went to school that morning the next day feeling like she was a gangster lord.
Sure.
So they have when you have little kids. And
show and tell.
Show and tell. And kids came, and most of them, they're little kids, great to kids, and they were like, oh, I love this toy. My daddy bought me, I love my BMW car. And my daughter goes there and she's like, I'm a landlord. And the teacher's like, what does that even mean? She's like, I'm a landlord. I got plenty money. I have my house in Oklahoma. And the teacher thought my daughter was joking.
Sure.
So the next morning, I took my daughter to school. She's trying to go in, and the teacher goes, oh my God, we had show and tell yesterday. Zoe was so funny. She said she was a landlord. And I'm like, yeah, she's a landlord. Okay, what do you mean? I said, actually, I'm in real estate, and she owns a property in Oklahoma and is worth $120,000. And right there, the teacher was like, Zoe, I'm so sorry. I actually thought you were joking. And my dad's like, I told you, I'm a landlord, And she's like, are you going to rent the house to me? So what are we saying? This is wealth flow. We're not just talking about you. We're talking about how you can pass generational wealth from you to your children, to your children, to your children. What do you got to say about that?
Do we have 3 hours for this?
No, we don't have 3 hours.
Okay.
We actually run out of time soon.
Okay. All right. So let's back up square one. If I'm not mistaken, I might have been the guy who told you about paying your kids.
Oh, yes, you did.
Okay. I'm talking to a young woman. She's a true entrepreneur. She owns 3 restaurants, and she's a broker. She's a real estate broker, owns her own brokerage firm. She has 2 kids. I said, that's amazing. $12,400 per year. You can pay your kids, blah, 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 blah. I told him and what he's done. She gets back to me. She says, my accountant says you can't do that. They have to be 12 years old and have a work permit. I said, no, they don't. No, my accountant says, okay. So I contacted the Department of Workforce Development, and I have it on their letterhead that anyone can employ their own children for any purpose as long as it's not dangerous. You can't have them driving the unloader.
No.
You can't have them loading charges in the dynamite. But they can shred papers.
Yep.
Okay.
They can run errands in the
They
office.
can run errands. When your oldest daughter gets to be 16, she can do your social media. Now you can pay her $50 an hour.
I can have her sit down and say, hey, let's talk. And you know the funny thing, I will be schooling her and paying her at the same time.
That's right. Okay, so that's $12,400 a year. That's 2 kids. That's $24,800 that comes right off the top of his income. So first off, he gets a tax deduction for it. Secondly, he deducts his Social Security on that. If he's in a 24% tax bracket, he just made $24,000. About $7,000 he just put in his pocket for paying his kids tax-free income to him.
And I want to add, this is legal. This is not something that is done under the table, because I was on the show the other day and I was talking about, how you can save money in taxes, and some people in the comment were like, "Oh, that is a fraud. You can't stay in America and not pay taxes." And I'm like, dude, get information.
Get information.
The biggest problem out there is people don't want to pay for information.
Well, hang on. This is part of my rant. Like I said, I got 3 hours. This woman's accountant said, no, you can't do that. You got restrictions. There's no restrictions. The IRS says that a kid under 7 can't do any worthwhile function. So there is that restriction. But other than that, you can have your kid do anything.
Correct.
Just talked to a guy in California. His accountant told him not to do it. Not to do it. Now, he fired that accountant. But his accountant didn't say there were restrictions. He just said, don't do it.
Don't do it.
$24,000 he's got 2 kids too, $24,800 every year into his family tax-free. So who pays for the kids' football?
They pay for themselves.
They're going to pay for it with tax-free money.
Class.
Piano lessons, dance lessons, gymnastics,
class
trips, birthday parties, clothes for the year. I mean,
I used to add chocolate, but I stopped. I had to take that out because I took my daughter's 17 out of her mouth just buying her too much chocolate.
Tax-free chocolate. Okay, so let's say Joseph spends $4,000 per year on his kids for whatever.
Yeah.
Leaves him $8,000. What does he do with it? Because his business as a sole owner, well, you've done everything right.
Yeah.
He's multi-member, all that stuff. But he has an LLC that has sponsored a solo 401k. A solo 401k is available to small businesses across this country. Nobody knows anything about it. It's the best kept secret in the United States. And his kids can take that extra money that they earned, because it's income to them. And they can contribute that to their Roth 401k. So it's not only tax-free now, it's tax-free for the rest of their lives.
You know what's amazing? And you can take that money and reinvest it into real estate.
You can use leverage. If she's got $8,000 in her Roth 401k, she can go out and through using leverage, getting people, and of course this would be under your direction.
Correct.
She could buy an 8-unit apartment building with $8,000. Yes, you can do that. Her 401k can use leverage to buy a much greater, much more valuable piece of property, and that $8,000 then just doubles and triples and quadruples every year.
You can put that down as a down payment. I had a guy who came and said, I just have only $10,000. I'm like, dude, you don't have $10,000. In real estate, what you actually have is about $100,000 worth of property. He said, what do you mean? I said, all you got to do is, what's your credit? His credit was 620. I said, you go look for a property that's $100,000. You tell them, you know what? I have 10% down, maybe even 5%. You put down 5% and closing, that's $10,000. So what is really lacking is not the fact that the economy isn't good or all the stuff people talk about. What is really lacking is a lot of people don't have information.
They don't have information.
Yeah.
And my point, and the reason I have a rant is, we're relying on CPAs that give us bad
Yeah,
information.
they don't know. Most of them out there don't know what they're doing, and
It,
they,
this sounds
maybe they're not as adventurous as we are.
well. It's not even a matter of being adventurous. If you know the law, why would you tell your kids or your client not to do it, or that there's a restriction that doesn't exist? This accountant was just too lazy to call it Department of Workforce Development and get the real deal. Okay.
Yeah, and talking about laws and taking actions and all that, the tax code itself has over what? How many?
Oh, there's like 9,000 pages, over 9 million words.
9 million words. And this, I mean, I am running a business. I don't have time to go cram or go read 9,000 pages of the law book that talks about taxes. But you can actually have someone who knows what they're doing, and that's where mentorship comes in again. To go read, do all that reading, you just got to pay them and have someone who knows what they're doing. It saves you trouble every single time. 2 days ago or 3 days ago, I was talking about incompetence versus what was that word? Ignorance.
Yep.
And it was a very interesting conversation. I don't know which one I can actually tolerate. I think I can actually tolerate ignorance because I can teach it. But when somebody becomes incompetent, or they have both, then you're in trouble because
you're in big trouble.
You don't even know where they're going to start from. So too many people are either incompetent out there or they're ignorant. And the reason why they go through that circle is just because they don't want to put in the work to get out there to know what they're supposed to do.
Right.
So number one, you have to get mentorship. Number two, you have to move out of your comfort zone. You have to be able to move into places where people can teach you stuff, people can show you what is out there, the information that can change your life forever, and this is how you build wealth.
If I can piggyback on what you said, it's almost impossible to keep up with all the tax code changes, because not only are there 9 million words, about 20% of it changes every year. Mm-hmm. Accountants are not tax professionals. If you want to know what their job title is, it's assurance services. That's what accountants do. Assurance services. Doesn't have anything to do with taxes. It has with filling in the forms correctly.
Yeah, that's actually true.
That's what that is. So again, I'm going to make a blanket statement here, but it's a good one to go by. If you earned in your business $80,000 or less this year, and you paid a nickel in taxes, you need a new accountant.
Yeah, you don't know what you're doing actually if you do that.
And your accountant doesn't know what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing.
So if you look, I just sat down with a guy. He had $26,000 that he put on his Schedule C from his small business. He put on his Schedule C and he paid taxes on it. He shouldn't have been paying a nickel. Not a nickel.
And I'm going to say this. I don't know if I should even say it on camera, but last year I finished. The year was coming to an end. I had excess cash, and I called my accountant. He's like, Joseph, do you need a car? I'm like, okay, what do you mean? It's like, do you know if you buy any car that is over 5,000 pounds in weight?
Yep.
When you're filing your taxes next day, January is going to be a tax write-off. I said, oh, I didn't know that. So you know what I did? I went ahead and I bought a car. I bought a car for about $70,000 cash, just because I didn't want to pay taxes on that money.
Right.
And that car is in the name of the business, and it was a tax write-off. And the same last year, I told you I bought a yacht, and this is what businesses do, and this is legal. When you have excess cash, you don't want to use that money and go into the next year and pay taxes. All you got to do is just buy an asset or buy real estate or buy something, and it's a tax write-off.
I use this example a lot. I know we're running out of time. I'm going to leave you with one thought, and then we can close out. Please look up the fellow named Peter Thiel, Thiel, Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is an expatriate German. He's from Germany. He came to this country, and he and some friends formed a business called PayPal.
Yep.
A guy named Elon Musk was with him. They sold PayPal to eBay 10, 12 years ago, something like that, and it came out that Peter Thiel had over $80 million in his Roth. Now, they didn't know the difference between a Roth 401k and a Roth IRA, so they just said Roth. Mm-hmm. I guarantee it was in a Roth 401k, because it would be almost impossible to do that in a Roth IRA. $80 million. Well, that was 10, 12 years ago. Now, that's $80 million he'll never pay taxes on, or any of the earnings he'll ever pay taxes on. This year, it came out that he has, it's grown a little bit, 5 billion be with a billion B dollars that's grown to.
It's just amazing, like,
And that's
what
what-
information can do for
What
you.
information can do for you. Now, my question is, are you from Germany?
Oh, no, I'm from Africa. if you
I know
ask.
you're from Africa. Are you from Germany? Do you have even $1 million in your Roth? And if not, why not? If a guy from Germany can come to this country and use our tax laws to his advantage, is there any reason why you, sitting here in this country, not use those same tax laws to your advantage? And then we can get rid of, is it legal or is it not legal? Because it was legal for the
was legal,
Germans.
yeah.
I think, is it legal for the Africans? Have
Oh
you
yeah, it's
figured-
legal. I'm using it right now.
I thought it might have been.
That's what I do. So at the end of the day, all that we're saying sounds good. We're not here to tickle people's ears and make them feel good. It's all about taking action. You got to take action. You got to move out there. You can sit down and put your leg in the water and come out, but until you really get in there, make a decision and decide that, what, I want to change my life and I want to start taking decisive action and take my destiny into my own hands, you still be on the same spot. Nobody's coming to help you. What you got to do is go out there, get the information that's going to change your life. I tell people all the time, and I'm in my 40s, mid-40s, and I tell people all the time, it's so amazing. Like 5-6 years ago, I found my purpose. My purpose was just, I am the guy who's going to change the rest of my generation. Like my children's children, I'm that guy, and I'm willing to pay the price. All I want is when I'm old and maybe I'm gone, I just want like a 6-foot portrait in my house, right in front of the door. When people walk in there, who is that dude? Oh, that is great-grandpa, great-grandpa, the Black Mentor. He came from Africa and, built everything you've seen. And you can be that person. And for you to be that person, it's all about information. There's so much information out there in this country. This country is a great country. I don't care what's going on in America. There are bad people every single place all over the world. But this country, the laws in this country, the opportunities in this country, if you know what you're doing, you hang around the right people, you take the right decisions, you put in the work, you will be successful in the United States. And that's where I'm going to wrap it up. Any last words?
I'm done. You've done it all.
You're done. Ladies and gentlemen, so that is it for today. My name is Joseph Nantomah. I have Mike here, and we've been talking about how to start a business, scale it, build a business, and so many good stuff. On this show, we're going to keep it straight. We're going to keep it raw. We're going to tell you what you need to do to move your life from where you are to where you want to be. So make it another time. Join us as we talk more on Word Flow with the Black Mentor. Thank you very much.